Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Nightly Sports Call.
Thank you very much, Kim and JB. Welcome, everybody, to the Allegheny Health Network Nightly Sports Call. I am your host, Josh Taylor. To cap off a weekend that was full of football excitement, a lot of crazy things going on. Pitt versus Penn State yesterday. Of course, Penn State beating Pitt 33-14. And then, of course, the Steelers starting their season on a rather awkward note, beating Cleveland 21-18 in a game that I would think we would all agree probably should have been a lot easier given the circumstances going into Cleveland, where they had lost 12 straight opening games. The Browns, no success really in week one, and Ben Roethlisberger having won 10 of 12 games in Cleveland so far in his career. So you figure going in, it would be an easier task. And the truth was, it wasn't. Outside of maybe a good performance by the defense, there were some serious things that needed to be corrected with this team in different phases of the game. The running game is probably the one that sticks out the most. When you look at the fact that they ran for 35 yards as a team, 32 on 10 carries by Le'Veon Bell, that's something that stands out. Otherwise, the offense pretty much buoyed by the passing game. A net yardage of 255 yards through the air probably made the difference. And more importantly, Antonio Brown was the guy on offense that pretty much made most of this work. 11 targets. He caught all 11 passes that were thrown to him for 182 yards. And then Jesse James catching 2 touchdown passes in the red zone. So really good performance by him as well. Those were the 2 guys that really got it done for the offense. Other than that, you have to start asking some questions because there wasn't a lot of sharpness to start this game out. The running game, as we talked about, was not very strong. Penalties abounding all over the place. Seemed like call after call after call on both sides of the football, but penalties really bogged down the offense throughout the course of this game. Also, in the days leading up to this game, what's the one thing we've talked about probably the most with this offense? Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown together again for the first time in nearly 2 years. And all 4 of these guys really didn't figure into this game. Martavis Bryant had 2 catches for 24 yards. Not really a big fixture in this game. So when you're, 2 catches for 14 yards. So when you're talking about, what was expected of this offense and what they were expected to do, there were some serious cracks in the facade. And the running game, of course, is a thing I thought was forefront with a lot of people. You heard a lot of people commenting on whether or not maybe Le'Veon Bell should have been at training camp, maybe should have arrived a little bit sooner than the week before the first game of the season to get himself more in sync with this offense. Now, after the game, the Steelers pointed to a lot of different things as to why things did not work. Mike Tomlin was very forceful in saying that he did not blame Le'Veon Bell. He really blamed it on penalties that put them in awkward positions where they weren't able to run. After all, Le'Veon Bell carried the ball only 10 times. In a game that they were winning for the most part. So it's really hard to understand exactly why things kind of went the way they did in this game. Meanwhile, on the other side for Cleveland, first start for DeShone Kizer, and the rookie from Notre Dame in his first game, made some pretty impressive plays throughout this game. Of course, he ran for a touchdown, threw for another one. But I think it's safe to say that DeShone Kizer maybe gave the Steelers a little bit more than they were expected to see from him. And he's the one that kept the game close with that touchdown pass to Corey Coleman in the fourth quarter that cut it to 21-18. So the Steelers had to actually run the clock out and salt this game away, and it took 2 really big plays to do it. It took a huge catch by Antonio Brown that the Browns eventually challenged and was upheld, but he jumped over 3 defenders to catch that ball and make an incredible play, arguably one of the plays in the week in the entire league. And then finally, Le'Veon Bell's longest run of the game, a 15-yarder, that eventually salted the game away. But this one was in no way pretty much well wrapped up. This was in danger of being lost, and the Steelers had to use a pretty strong effort on offense to put this game away because the Browns did not make it easy on them. But in the meantime, we will take a break here. We'll hear your thoughts on the game. We'll take your phone calls. 412-575-2600 is the number. We'll also take your tweets at Josh Taylor HD. See you in a few.